So take a deep breath, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the cold moon ceremony, the last full moon of 2024. I am Pnina Moldovano, and I feel very privileged to honor this moon with you, beautiful ladies. Thank you for being here. Ah, Thank you for opening up to receiving the gifts of this very powerful moon. So, we will begin. So, this moon is called the cold moon, and it is also known as the frost moon or the winter moon. These names come from Native Americans who gave the full moon of December its name, which is pretty straightforward. It is due to the long, cold nights. And the moon itself is a sentient being. The moon affects so many aspects of our lives. Uh, Back in the day, it affected agri- agriculture, excuse me. And so people followed the cycles of the moon in order to know when it is time to harvest, for example, or when winter is approaching and it was time to stay indoors and keep warm. The moon affects the tides, it affects the waters in our body. The moon affects female menstruation, it affects our mood. And there are still calendars to this day which follow the cycles of the moon. And the moon reflects light, it reflects the light of the sun. It is mysterious and evasive. Every time there's a full moon in the sky, we want to catch it and have a glimpse at it, and it seems shining in its silvery light. Ah, though it does not project light, but reflects light. It reflects the light of each being on planet Earth. And so when you look at the moon, gaze at the moon, it reflects your own light. And breathe. It is associated with the feminine, divine, and with feminine energy. Though in some traditions, there is a god of the moon and not a goddess of the moon. But overall, it is associated with feminine energy, introspection, darkness. It is magnetic. And every time a full moon appears in the sky, it is an opportunity to tap into its energy and tap into these aspects in ourselves, regardless of our gender, tap into our feminine side, going inside into ourselves. We're so out there, right? Especially nowadays. Um, we're so out there in our work, in our lives. Rarely do we get a chance to be indoors, be quiet for a moment, and look inside ourselves. And this is a great opportunity to do so. And breathe. And each moon of each month has a certain name and carries specific energies. And tonight's moon, the cold moon, is associated with winter. It is the last full moon before the winter solstice, which will take place in a few days on December 21st this year. And the winter solstice has its own magic. Yes, it is the longest night of the year or the shortest day, if you will. And all the European names for this moon include the moon before Yule. Yule is the old European name of the celebration of the winter solstice. And Oak Moon, Oak Moon after the ancient Druid traditions of harvesting mistletoe from oak trees. Hmm. And the fact that this moon is so close to the winter solstice carries a lot of magic. This is why it is also called the long night moon. It is the long night moon because the plane of the moon's orbit around Earth nearly matches the plane of Earth's orbit around the sun. And this means that between today, December 15th, and tomorrow, in Singapore, it's already December 16th, yes? So between today and tomorrow, the moon will be in the sky for a total of 16 hours and 3 minutes and will reach a maximum altitude of 79.2 degrees with 14 hours and 29 minutes of this when the sun is down. So this means since the moment the sun sets, the cold moon, December's full moon, is going to appear in the sky the longest of any full moon of the year. And this is because it is close to the winter solstice. Long night moon. Long night moon. It's a long night to go inside and reflect. Reflect on the previous year of this year, which is soon to be over. It is a chance to look at 2024 and see what it has been like for you. Its peaks and its downfalls. What are you thankful for? Is there anything you regret, or better say, choose to let go of? What are some of the blessings you have received this year? What are the lessons? A whole night to ponder, reflect, do some introspection before moving on to the new cycle. And breathe. The full moon rises and sets at its most northern points on the horizon in December. Okay, so this is a property of the full moon of December, that it rises and sets at the most northern points. Um, However, what is very special about tonight's cold moon is that not only does it rise and set at its most northern points of the year, But these are the most northern points of any point in nearly 2 decades. That's amazing. And this phenomenon called lunar precession happens when the moon's tilted orbit slowly gyrates. And this happens every 18 or so years. Every 18 years. So, so by looking and gazing at the moon and connecting with tonight's cold moon, we can reach with our intention and our consciousness, if we want, the most northern points, the North Pole, the most northern point of all. I invite you to think of the North Pole for a few moments. Whatever you've heard of it, whatever you've read of it, maybe you even know people who reached it. See, feel, and hear yourself in the North Pole. What does it feel like? What do you see? What do you sense? What do you smell? Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and out. Relax your body and let the cold moon take you to the North Pole. Keep on breathing. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And you are in the North Pole. Notice what you see, what you feel, how cold it is. Is there anyone there? Do you smell anything? Observe. Observe yourself in the North Pole. Is it dark? Can you sustain the freezing cold? Perhaps you want to get out of there already. Continue breathing. And you are fully covered with appropriate clothing, which is keeping you warm as much as possible. But yes, it is. It is cold in a sense that you have never felt before. It is dark and it feels pretty isolated because, well, who can sustain such living conditions for a long period of time and just be there and receive. Take another deep breath. And when you are ready, come back to the here and now gently. Move your fingers, your toes, and come back. Open your eyes, and you are fully in your body. There is nothing in the North Pole, pretty much nothing. Ice and darkness. Why would anyone even want to go there? And Starfuente says that the North Pole is one of the places which carries the most magic. And breathe. There is deep magic in that dark nothingness. And know that any time of the year, you can go there with your intention and just be. Just be in the darkness and in that nothingness, in that void. And maybe you'll receive some of its magic. And breathe. And that void, that darkness, presumably stands in opposition to all the shining, colorful lights coming from the Geminid meteor shower. So this is happening as well at the same time. Geminid meteors radiate from near the bright star Castor in the constellation of Gemini. And while most meteor showers originate from comets, Geminids are leftovers, leftover bits and pieces, debris of the asteroid known as 3200 Phaethon. And the meteors of Gemini are very bright and they're fast and they are unusual in being multicolored, mainly white, some yellow, some green, red, and blue. And these colors are partly caused by the presence of traces of metals like sodium and calcium. And the same effect is used to make fireworks colorful. And this meteor shower has been known to produce over 150 meteors per hour at its peak. Wow. These are many meteors. And this meteor shower will peak on, well, today, or for some yesterday, 14th and 15th December, but it will continue until December the 20th. So you can, have the proper equipment, go outside and try to catch the Geminid meteor shower. However, the light from the long-lasting cold moon. Remember, this is the longest full moon up in the sky. So if you're trying to catch the meteors tonight, then the cold moon may cloud your vision and all these beautiful colors may be overshadowed by the dark, cold moon. And breathe. So the cold moon invites us as the last moon of the year of 2024. It invites us to look within, to go to that presumably nothingness within ourselves. And it invites us to look back at the past year and see what experiences we've had. What have we learned? What new? Was there anything new? Or was there any first for us this year? What are some of the good things? What are some of the bad things that happened? And it is important to do so. End of year, beginning of new year, these are thresholds, or better say, portals to something new, to a new cycle. And before you begin something new, it is best to finish, conclude, let go of, give gratitude to the old. It is important to do so so you are able to open up and truly receive the new. Let it be new knowledge, new friend, new place to live in, new level in your spiritual growth, or new year. And so I invite you to name one. It doesn't have to be long for tonight's purposes. I invite you to name 1 to 3 things you are grateful for in 2024, and 1 to 3 things you choose to let go of. And breathe, everyone. And now, just as we are about to pass through the portal to the new cycle, to 2025, I welcome you to name 1 to 3 goals that you have for yourself, things you want to accomplish, achieve, or be in 2024. And at the same time, I invite you to state out loud to 1 to 3 actions you are committing to taking in order to fulfill your goals. So it is very powerful to state what we want out loud, especially in the presence of another person, more people, and especially on a magical night like this. It gives so much oomph to your statement, to your goals. And it is even more powerful to say out loud and commit to yourself, to spirit, and to another person commit to the actions, actual actions in the physical world you're going to take for you to actualize your goals in 2025. And may all of your goals fulfill to benefit your highest good in accordance with the highest good of all concerned. Amen. And one last thing, name 1 to 3. It's enough that you name one. If you want, you can name 3 things you will do or be in 2025 for service, in service, for others. Service can even be something as simple as saying a prayer for someone or a group of people or animals or beings or some place or country where you feel that they need healing or light. Say a prayer for them and take a deep breath, everyone. And yes, and may all of your services be done with a full heart, connection, groundedness, in alignment with the highest good of all concerned. Amen. Amen. And this concludes our cold moon ceremony, the last full moon, the longest moon, the most northern moon of 2024. And I invite you to look at the moon if you can for a few moments. Just look at it in silence. And you can prepare something hot to drink and just contemplate. Just sit and be with it. And yes, and before we go, hi, here's me. And I have my cup of tea here, my herbal tea. Thank you, cold moon, for all the blessings and lessons for all of us from the bottom of our hearts. And may the moons of 2025 reflect all your light and glory. Amen. And since it's really nearby, and Santa Claus comes from the Northern Pole, if I'm not mistaken, right? Haha, so this is an opportunity to wish you all, whether you celebrate it and even if you don't, just for the sake of energy and fun, I wish you all Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.